from Gravity Art Lab, and today I thought I would share with you a DIY tutorial that shows you how to make your own travel art journal. It's quick and it's easy. It uses a few simple, inexpensive materials, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So let's get started. These are the materials I used for this project. And this is the list of tools I used. To start with, you'll need your paper. Now I'm using mixed media paper, but you can use watercolor paper, sketch paper, drawing paper. It really depends on the type of supplies you're planning to use in your journal. You'll want 11 by 14 paper, and we are going to cut the sheets in half and then fold them so that your final journal size will be approximately 5.5 by 7 inches. So here I am removing the paper from the pad. I'm going to remove 2 sheets for my single signature. In this next step, I'll be cutting my 2 sheets of paper in half. When I'm done, I'll have 4 sheets of paper that are 7 inches by 11 inches. Now, it's not necessary to have a paper cutter, although it does make this step a little bit easier. It's perfectly fine if you just want to grab a pair of scissors and cut your paper in half. Next, I'm simply taking all 4 sheets of paper, lining them up, folding them to create a crease right down the center. Next, you want to take a ruler, line it up at the center crease that you just created, and mark your paper at 1-inch increments so that you'll end up with 6 evenly spaced marks. Secure your sheets of paper together with a binder clip or 2. Now I just happen to have one at the time, but normally I would suggest you put one on either side of your paper. Now grab a tool to punch your holes. You could use an awl, you could use a nail set, you could use a thumbtack or a paper clip or a nail, anything that will create a small hole that goes all the way through all 4 sheets of paper. You'll create a small hole at each of the 6 marks you made at the center of your paper. Next, grab your heavyweight thread, thread it onto your needle, and we'll start sewing the pages together. You'll need enough thread to go twice across your paper, plus about 6 to 8 inches extra, so I would say 20 to 22 inches would be a safe amount to cut. You're going to start sewing your pages together by poking your needle through the hole that is third from the top. Leave a little bit of the string hanging through, hold on to it with your thumb, and then start weaving the thread up and down through the holes until you get to the top of your pack of paper. Once you've reached the top hole, continue weaving back and forth through the holes until you've reached the bottom. And when you've reached the bottom, continue weaving back and forth until you get to the starting hole. When you get to this point, your needle should be on the outside fold of your book. Run the needle through the thread on the back of your book to create a knot in the end, as shown. Using your needle, push the thread back through that same starting hole so that it is now on the inside of your fold. Tug gently on the ends Then you can remove your needle, trim your ends, and tie your final knot. Once your thread is secure, trim the ends once more, and then if you'd like, you can tuck the ends under just to get them out of the way. In this next step, I'll be creating my cardboard cover using a cereal box. You'll want to find one that's large enough to cover your entire journal, with a few extra inches for the flap on the front. The completed length of mine, once it was cut, is about 13.5 inches. Using your completed signature as a guide, mark the cardboard box exactly where you'd like to make your cuts for the top and the bottom edges of your cover. I marked mine so that the cardboard cover would be slightly larger than the signature itself. Once again, use your completed signature to help you decide where to make your end cuts. Finally, flip your cardboard over and use your finished signature to help determine the location of your fold lines. Use your cutting tool to gently score lines in these locations. Now it's time to glue your cover to your sheet of craft foam. I'm using a glue called Yes Paste because it's designed specifically to work with paper products. It's also very thick and dries quickly. I apply it with a spackling knife because it's the easiest way for me to get a nice even coat. Now, there are a lot of things you can use to cover this. It doesn't have to be craft foam. You may want to use a patterned cardstock or even decoupage something unusual like gift wrap or a napkin or something that you found that you really love the pattern. I love craft foam because it's so versatile. You can seal it with an iron, you can create impressions, you can make it look just like leather, you can paint it, and it's really fairly inexpensive. Now once the glue has dried, I trim the edges and just cut off a little bit at the corners to round it off, fold it, and check the fit. Grab a rubber band to hold the signature in place, and you're almost done. Final steps involve creating a closure for your journal. Here you see me marking the center of my journal to figure out where I want to place my holes for my closure. I'm using a Crop-A-Dile to punch the holes, but any heavy-duty hole punch should do. I used a 3/16 inch diameter for my holes, and they're located a 1/2 inch and 1 inch from the edge of my journal. For my closure, I used a heavy-duty elastic hairband. It's best if you can find one without a hard metal connection. Squeeze the ends together and push them through the holes as shown. Then pull the loop that's closest to the edge through the other loop. And there's your closure. The final step is to add a button to secure the elastic to. You'll need to mark the center of the button by stretching your elastic and determining where it would best fit. Make sure it's centered top to bottom, then use your actual button to mark the location of the holes. You can use the same tool you used to poke the holes in the signature to poke holes for your button. Make sure it goes all the way through. Then thread your needle with your heavyweight thread. Sew on your button just like you would on any piece of clothing. I doubled up my thread and tied a knot on the end before I started. When you're all done, create a knot on the inside of your cover, snip off the ends, insert your signature, and you're done. The great thing about this project is your journal is small and light enough to take with you anywhere. The other great thing is once you finish working on the papers in your book, you can just swap it out for a new signature. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you try it out and get out there and start journaling.